Welcome to SVR IAS Academy. ComeOnIndia.com is our website. In today's newspaper analysis video lecture, you will learn so many important topics, and today's date is October 20th, 2016. Let's start today's newspaper discussion. First topic that we are going to discuss today is on goods and services tax and 4 tax slabs proposed by central government and related issues. This article is published in Indian Express. The link is provided below the video lecture. As you might be knowing that GST, the bill, that is a constitutional amendment bill, that is 122nd constitutional amendment bill, was passed in both Houses of Parliament recently, and President of India has also given his approval for this bill. Now the issue of fixing the tax rate is going on. GST Council, Goods and Services Tax Council, meets frequently to fix the tax rate. According to the central government, 50% of the essential goods and services will be exempted from any tax. It means GST will be called as pro-poor because 50% of the essential goods and services are exempted from any tax. So another basic point with respect to implementation of the goods and services tax is that GST should not put any fresh inflationary pressure. Inflation means general rise in the price level. So general increase in the price is called as inflation. So because of the implementation of goods and services tax, inflation should not increase. And recently Government of India proposed 4 tax slabs in the range of 8% to 26%. So 4 rate slabs have been proposed by central government. The 4 rates are 8%, 10%, 18% and 26%. But according to some other reports, the basic rate will be increased between 10 to 25%. If the tax rate is too low, it may affect the revenue earnings by the states. What about the composition of GST Council? GST Council comprises state finance ministers. So finance ministers of all the states, and GST Council is headed by Union Finance Minister. So these are the important points you should know for the prelims examination. In this background, you should also know about Avian Subramaniam panel recommendation on the tax rate. The panel has proposed 3 rate structure. 3 rate structure has been proposed by Avian Subramaniam panel. For essential goods, the panel proposed 13%. For demerit goods, the panel recommended 40%. For the remainder items, the panel proposed 17 to 18% tax rate. So now you have seen one word. What do you mean by demerit goods? Simply, demerit goods are goods which are unhealthy in nature. So demerit goods are goods and services when consumed it is considered as unhealthy or degrading. Example is alcohol, cigarettes and other items we can say. So Avian Subramaniam panel proposed higher tax rate for demerit goods, that is 40%. This is the continuation of the goods and services tax. Additional points in the Hindu newspaper. Recently, central government has proposed a cess over and above the goods and services tax on ultra luxury items. Ultra luxury items means big cars and other items, but the proposal is opposed by many states. In this background, we advise you to prepare thoroughly on cess. What is cess? How cess differs from surcharge is an important area for the prelims examination from economy session. Cess is nothing but a tax imposed for a specific purpose. Remember the term specific purpose because it carries a meaning. So cess is nothing but a tax levied for a specific purpose. Example for the cess are Swachh Bharat cess, Swachh Bharat cess, education cess, and so on. So these are the examples for cess. Visit our website commondindia.com to get a video lecture on cess, surcharge and other issues. Another issue is that how to calculate revenue of the state. Calculating the revenue of the state is also an important issue. The base year for calculating the revenue of the state will be 2015 and 16. Why should we calculate revenue of the state? If goods and services tax are implemented, some states will get loss in their total revenue and some states will gain. Revenue of the some states will increase, revenue of the some states will decrease. So center has to compensate the states which are facing the revenue loss. For that, center has to calculate the revenue of the state. For that, base year will be 2015 and 16. For example, take a state of Tamil Nadu and the revenue of the state in 2015-16 if is considered as X, and according to the central government's proposal, for the first 5 years, growth of the state will be considered as 14%. So revenue of the state for the first 5 years will be X plus 14% of X. It will be considered as the revenue of the state. If the revenue decreases below that, central government will compensate the loss. Central government also proposes a fund to compensate to the states. So the fund will be from cess on the ultra luxury items. As already we discussed, central government proposes ultra luxury item taxes over GST, but it is opposed by many states. So let's discuss in detail about GST in our website commondindia.com. GST is an important topic for mains 2016 as well as for 2017 IAS examination because the deadline for implementing the goods and services tax is April 1st, 2017. So prepare thoroughly on the GST for 2016 and 2017 IAS examination. Next we are going to discuss about Consumer Production Bill. The topic came in the news in Indian Express. This topic is important for GS paper 2 as well as for GS paper 4, especially on the topic of grievance redressal mechanism, consumer production and other topics. At present, consumer rights are protected by Consumer Production Act 1986. Recently, in Geneva, United Nations guidelines for consumer production has been launched. So the revised United Nations guidelines for consumer protection has been launched. So prepare thoroughly on this topic. It's an important area for the mains examination. What are all the revised UN guidelines and so on. So our minister also attended this meeting in Geneva and said that Government of India has taken so many steps to strengthen the consumer protection mechanism, and government is going to pass Consumer Protection Bill 2015, which is in Parliament. If it is passed, it will ensure the timely delivery of justice to the consumers. We can call the new bill as forward-looking approach. The reason is, even consumer rights are protected even if they transact through e-commerce. At present, consumer rights are not protected if they transact through e-commerce. So the Consumer Protection Bill 2016 will protect the rights of the consumers even if they transact through e-commerce platforms. So the bill emphasizes that to ensure 5 things. So remember the 5 points. Consumer Protection Bill 2015, if passed, will ensure the simplicity, speed, access, affordability and timely delivery of justice. Simply you can say SAT. SAT. S for simplicity, another S for speed, one A for access, second A for affordability and T for timely delivery of justice. Once the bill is passed, it will ensure the message that consumer is the king in any country. Government of India has also recently launched a portal called Grievance Against Misleading Advertisements. Grievance Against Misleading Advertisements or GAMA, to handle the complaints of consumers related to misleading advertisements. So this topic is important for the mains examination. Consumer Protection Bill 2016 and its various features. So prepare thoroughly on this topic for 150 to 200 words. Now let's discuss another important article that is published in the Hindu newspaper regarding compulsory voting. Is it possible in India? Some countries have introduced compulsory voting. Whether we should go for compulsory voting because of the declining voters turnout. Recently, Chief Election Commissioner Nazim Zaidi said that compulsory voting is not practical in India. It is not possible in India to introduce compulsory voting. But Chief Election Commissioner calls for comparing the benefits of compulsory voting on the one side and education-led mobilization of the voters on the other hand. So we should compare both. What are the plus point, minus points in both the system. Recently, a private member bill also introduced in the Lok Sabha for introducing the compulsory voting in India. But government rejected this private member bill, said that it is not possible to bring a law for compulsory voting because it punishes the persons who do not vote. So it is not possible for in India to bring compulsory voting. In this background, we advise you to prepare thoroughly on the steps taken by Election Commission of India to increase the voter turnout in the elections, especially about systematic voters education and electoral participation. Systematic voters education and electoral participation project. Prepare thoroughly on this topic for 100 to 150 words. So because of the various steps taken by Election Commission of India, in 2014 general elections, voters turnout was 66.4%. 66.4% voters turnout has been achieved in the 2014 general elections. So it is the highest voter turnout or participation in the last 6 decades. So it is one of the important achievement of the Election Commission of India. Another point is that in 2014 general elections, women's participation is the highest, that is 65.6%. So these are the important points or facts you can quote while writing answer on the steps taken by Election Commission of India to enhance the voter participation or voter awareness and so on. So prepare thoroughly on this topic. Compulsory voting is also an expected area for interview as well. Another topic that we are going to discuss is about turning the pollution into renewable energy. This topic is very important in GS paper 3 in Science and Technology section. Within that, application of nanotechnology, how it may change our life. Recently, scientists accidentally turned pollution, that is carbon dioxide, into renewable energy, that is ethanol. Now you can understand the impact of carbon dioxide pollution. Because of our various activities, carbon dioxide, that is a greenhouse gas, released into the atmosphere. Because of the greenhouse effect, Earth is facing climate change, or simply you can say global warming. Many places are facing severe droughts and some places are facing severe floods. So in this background, we have to take so many steps to reduce the carbon dioxide emission from the earth. It is one of the way. By using this technology, we can convert the carbon dioxide into ethanol. How? Recently, researchers from the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, which is located in USA, used a complex nanotechnology technique to turn the dissolved carbon dioxide into ethanol. If the technique becomes operational and commercial, there is no need for going for the carbon capture and storage techniques. Carbon capture and storage is one of the important area for mains GS paper 3, and it comes in the environment and ecology section. There are so many methods are there. We discussed about carbon capture and storage in our environment and ecology video lectures. To get the video lecture, visit our website commoonindia.com. For the reaction, researchers used a catalyst which is made from carbon, copper and nitrogen. So this is one of the important application of the nanotechnology. So prepare thoroughly on the nanotechnology. It can be asked in the mains examination, especially nanomedicine, nanosurgery, nanorobotics and other topics. Now let's discuss about another important topic, that is e-health system. What do you understand by the term e-health system? Recently, New Delhi Municipal Council planning to introduce the e-health system in the hospitals and dispensaries. In this background, we shall discuss in detail about e-health system. New Delhi Municipal Council also introduced cloud-based e-hospital management information system. Introduced cloud-based e-hospital management information system in collaboration with NIC. NIC stands for National Informatics Center. So it is the first kind of initiative in India for the government hospitals. Here the term cloud-based is coming. So in this background, we advise you to prepare thoroughly on 100 words about cloud computing and its various applications. Now let's discuss in detail about e-health and what it constitutes. E-health is the application of information and communication technology to the health. So it means is a way to improve the healthcare service access, efficiency and quality. Implementation of the e-health will ensure the universal health coverage. Under e-health, there are so many components like telemedicine, telehealth, m-health, electronic medical records. So under e-health, all vital reports will be digitalized in the electronic format. One of the important advantage of the e-health is that consider a person A who is staying in a remote village. If his medical records are digitalized and if he needs any expert advice, say neurosurgeon's advice, usually he will be staying in the metro cities. After seeing the medical records, the neurosurgeon from the metro city can suggest a treatment to the doctor who is staying in the village. So it becomes easy to get the expert advice because of the e-health, and also prepare thoroughly about what is telemedicine and what is m-health. These are the important areas for mains examination. Now let's discuss about another important topic, that is avian flu, or simply you can say bird flu. The article is published in Indian Express about Delhi National Zoological Park shutdowns temporarily because of the bird flu scare. In this topic, you have to prepare from multiple angles. What is H5N1 and what is H1N1, and is India free from bird flu? In September, India was declared as free from bird flu. In this background, what are all the steps that India has taken which makes India a bird flu free nation? What we need to do to ensure our nation as a bird flu free nation? In September 2016, India was declared as free from highly contagious avian influenza. So H5N1 is nothing but influenza that affects birds. H5N1 is also called as bird flu. Human influenza is also known as H1N1. So H1N1 type affects the human beings. H5N1 affects birds. Avian influenza, that is H5N1, will not affect humans, is another important point for the prelims examination. Even though we have declared as free from bird flu in September 2016, we need to keep continued surveillance, especially in the vulnerable areas bordering the infected countries and in areas which is frequently visited by migratory birds. So, how avian influenza spreads? It spreads from the infected bird to another bird via air. especially through the nasal and respiratory secretions. So this topic is important for GS paper 3 and H5N1, H1N1 is one of the important area for the prelims examination. So prepare thoroughly on this topic. To get a video lecture on this topic, visit our website commandindia.com. Now let's discuss the another important topic about the role played by UNICEF. What is pentavalent vaccine? Pentavalent vaccine, it acts against 5 diseases. What are they? Recently, UNICEF reached a deal with 5 vaccine suppliers to supply the pentavalent vaccine at a very low cost so that more than 57 lakh children can be saved in the coming 2 to 3 years. As you might be aware that UNICEF is procuring vaccines from the vaccine suppliers and distributes the vaccines to poor countries, especially in the African continent. UNICEF stands for United Nations Children's Fund. United Nations Children Fund. So, but the cost of vaccine is higher. So, for the last 16 years, UNICEF was asking the suppliers to reduce the price of pentavalent vaccine so that poor children will benefit a lot. So in this background, recently a deal was reached between the vaccine suppliers and UNICEF. Because of the deal, it will benefit 5.7 million children. So 57 lakh deaths per year can be avoided because of this deal. Pentavalent vaccine is a part of routine immunization program. Pentavalent vaccine protect the children from 5 major infections. The 5 major infections are diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, hepatitis B and Haemophilus influenza type B. So remember, Haemophilus influenza type B and not type A. How to remember this? You might have heard about DPT injection vaccine, then hepatitis B, HH. So DPT, HH, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, hepatitis B vaccine, and finally Haemophilus influenza type B. Haemophilus influenza type B is a bacteria that causes meningitis, pneumonia and other complications in the children. So in this background, we advise you to prepare thoroughly on the national immunization program that is followed in India. India's success in achieving the universal immunization coverage and so on is important for GS paper 3. This article deals with the India-Myanmar relations. India-Myanmar relations and the recent developments. The topic is coming in GS paper 2, India and neighbors. Recently, Myanmar's top leader visited India for BRICS BIMSTEC summit to attend the BRICS BIMSTEC outreach summit. Top leader is Aung San Suu Kyi. During the visit, 3 important agreements signed between India and Myanmar. Both countries spoke about democracy and development because both are democratic nations. So the democracy and development, you can get essay topic on democracy and development, so prepare thoroughly on it. As already we discussed, India and Myanmar signed 3 important agreements in the areas of power, banking and insurance sector. Apart from the three areas, India and Myanmar also decided to step up the cooperation in the field of oil and gas, agriculture, renewable energy, and healthcare. You might be knowing about the history of Myanmar. After independence from Britain, it was under the democratic rule, and after some time, Myanmar was under the military rule till 1 year back. Aung San Suu Kyi is a leader and she fought for democracy for last 30 years and she has been awarded Nobel Peace Prize a couple of years back. So, not 2 years back, elections held in the Myanmar and her party, that is National League for Democracy, won the elections with a thumping majority. But in Myanmar there is a constitutional provision: if son or daughter becomes the foreign citizen, then she can't become the president of Myanmar. Aung San Suu Kyi's son and daughter settled in a foreign country and became the citizens of that country. So because of this constitutional provision, she can't become the president of Myanmar. For that, the party has created a special position called as State Councillor and Foreign Minister. So now she holds the post of State Councillor and Foreign Minister but controls the government. During the visit, Prime Minister called India as her second home. The reason is that Aung San Suu Kyi studied in India and stayed in Delhi. That's why Prime Minister called India as her second home. And Aung San Suu Kyi spoke about Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru. India got independence and the freedom fight gave inspiration to many countries in the African continent and also in Asia. So Myanmar also draw huge inspiration from the India's freedom fight. This paragraph is important for the mains examination. Myanmar is India's strategic neighbor. You can consider Myanmar as a strategic neighbor because Myanmar shares 1640 kilometers long border with a number of northeastern states. These northeastern states are affected by militancy, especially the Nagaland and Manipur. So Myanmar's help is very important to control the militancy in the northeastern states. So to get the complete video lecture on India-Myanmar relationship and about BRICS and about BIMSTEC, visit our website comeonindia.com. That's all about today's newspaper analysis video lecture, and visit the links that are given below the video lecture to reach the newspaper articles and prepare thoroughly, and all the best.